Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Dion, and today we are doing a summer style analysis on the current TikTok aesthetic, coastal grandmother. If you are not on TikTok, you might not have heard of coastal grandmother, which is a term coined by TikToker Lex Nicoletta. She's sort of the authority on coastal grandmother. This is the newest sort of summer aesthetic that is coming out for 2022. This is part 2 to my summer style analysis series. Part 1 is my lake day aesthetic, so you can go check that out. And I have a couple more coming up, so stay tuned for that. Before we get into it, make sure you subscribe to my channel because I post videos every Thursday. With that, let's get into it. You get up at 8 a.m., walk into the bright, spacious kitchen, and make yourself a French press coffee. After pouring yourself a glass of grapefruit juice, you sit down to read, do some crosswords, and make some phone calls. You then put on your favorite white linen button-down and bring your blue and white striped sweater just in case it gets a little chilly. You have on a pair of breezy oat-colored pants and a pair of summer loafers. You head down to the farmer's market to get the ingredients for this new Ina Garden recipe you've been meaning to try. Before you start cooking, you head home and take time to read your book, tidy the house with all the windows open, and maybe nap a little. After, you decide to take a nice stroll on the beach, watching the seagrass blow in the cool wind and the powdery sand squish between your toes. You come back home, put on some Etta James, and begin to chop tomatoes and basil as the warm smells fill your home. You go down to your wine cellar and pick out a special bottle, set the table with cloth napkins and pretty blue and white china, and fill your belly with nourishing, healthy food and delicious wine. So what is the coastal grandmother aesthetic? It is a lifestyle and aesthetic that is characterized by crisp linen shirts, nautical stripes, watching the Food Network, having a minimalist white beach house with some coastal decor, and the films of Nancy Meyers. This aesthetic started to become popular a couple months ago and is scouted as being the new summer aesthetic to replace the hot girl summer. Summer is always a time for hot girls, in my opinion. I think summer is a time where you really kind of get free and be a little bit wild. And I feel like coastal grandmother is for the girls that maybe don't want to have a hot girl summer. They want to have like a cozy, calm, relaxing summer. So a lot of my source material is going to be from Lex Nicoletta. If you are very into the coastal grandmother aesthetic, I highly recommend following her on TikTok because she does so many outfit inspirations, movies and TV shows, like so much, and she knows way more about this aesthetic than I do.
What is coastal grandmother, you ask? It's a term that I coined for this aesthetic. If you love Nancy Meyers movies, coastal vibes, recipes and cooking, Ina Garden, cozy interiors, and more, there's a good chance you might be a coastal grandmother. And no, you don't have to be a grandmother to be a coastal grandmother. It's for anyone and everyone. I even made this playlist on Spotify so you can have the coastal grand ambiance with you everywhere you go. If any of this sounds like you, follow along and we'll grand together.
Some adjacent aesthetics to the coastal grandmother style would be New England summer, grand millennial, a Nancy Meyers summer, and coastal granddaughter, which is typically the younger, chicer version of coastal grandmother. So what are the vibes of coastal grandmother? Romantic comedies, cooking, gardening, linen and cotton, rattan, blue and white, retirement and divorce, but also like a healthy late in life relationship, lounging, warm sun, cool breeze, salt air, classy coastal decor, flowers, reading beach novels in a newspaper, and wicker furniture. I think more so than some other aesthetics, coastal grandmother is more of like a home and fashion aesthetic. I'll get more into it in a second, but it's definitely more of a vibe than a fashion style, in my opinion. Some tenants of the coastal grandmother style are button-ups and flowy pants. The color's blue and white, so in stripes, gingham, and home decor and style, everything. Blue and white, every single thing. Other colors include ivories, oatmeals, creams, and then of course like ginghams and stripes with everything. Sometimes little pops of pink here and there to kind of match the hydrangeas that bloom, the pink hydrangeas. Espadrilles, wedges, and low-heeled sandals. Remember, it's coastal grandmother, so we gotta keep it comfy, practical. Beach totes, sun hats, big sunglasses, a sweater or a cardigan. Bonus points if you tie it around your neck and like look like a mom. It's very J. Crew meets Jarf Avenue. Kind of like the breezy, flowy, shapes of Jerf Avenue with the colors and styles of J. Crew. It's sort of nautical prep, but just tone it down a lot. So I feel like nautical preppiness can get a little bit like extreme, especially if we think about like the 2010s preppy vibe. You want to tone down the colors, keep it a lot more simple, and make everything loose and breezy. And cotton and linen only. No polyester, none of this like cheap, bad fabric from fast fashion websites. Coastal grandmothers only wear cottons and linen. I have to say, even though like giant button downs, flowy pants is literally like my uniform. That is what I wear all the time. If you watched my last video where I style outfits based on your like suggestions, I wore a button down in almost every single outfit. That's like my go-to. But I find this aesthetic, at least fashion-wise, so boring. I find it really boring. And I know a lot of you guys requested me to do this, but I think canonically, the style is very bland and boring. I think you can shape it up a little bit. I made like a TikTok or like an Instagram reel of like coastal grandmother inspired outfits that are much more like my vibe, which is a little bit more maximalist, a little bit more patterns and everything, but still keeping in with the color scheme. I saw there's this TikToker, I forget her name, but I'll have her videos here, who was like, what about Mediterranean coastal grandmother? And that's much more my vibe. Same flowy silhouettes and classic pieces, but we're not just blue, white, and cream. We're like brighter, more vibrant colors, and that's way more my summer vibe personally. I'm a maximalist, so the white and cream and navy homes, they feel like so sterile and like Better Home and Gardens magazine and like Magnolia home vibe. I don't know. And I also feel like when I dress very coastal grandmother, very strictly, like not adding my own Mediterranean flair to it, I look like my mom, and like I look like my mom in general. We have the same hair, same face, same body type, everything. And so them just like adding like loafers, trousers, and a button down to it, I feel very, very much Dee Dee energy. I like the fashion style because in essence, it's very me. Flowy trousers, flowy button down tops. I mean, I can't argue with that. For me personally, I feel like I need to modify it to just make it more interesting. I'm just not like a very minimalist person. I used to like, there was a while where I was trying to do like a capsule wardrobe and like only shop and like travel with basics, and then eventually I was like, basics are for the basic. Like I need something interesting to the outfit personally. Like even here, like I'm clashing, like this has two different kinds of gingham on it, and then I have a third kind of gingham, just because that's just what I need in an outfit to make me feel excited. Also hate Nancy Meyers movies. That is probably like my least favorite genre. I'm really, really picky about rom-coms. I don't really like rom-coms in general. They have to be a very specific type of romantic comedy, and I didn't know Nancy Meyers like wrote all these movies, but as I was researching this aesthetic, I was like, I hate all of these movies. Very classic style, you know, J. Crew, Ralph Lauren, Tommy Hilfiger, that's vibe, but it obviously is very like white, upper middle class, New England or Carolina vibe. I mean, like it's the rich white grandma that has a beach house, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's a very specific experience, the coastal grandmother. Like you don't have to have, but like to be able to relate to that experience, there's a lot of things in play, I feel like, that you have to, I don't know how to describe it. For 90% of the aesthetics that I cover, it is very white and skinny. Finding like more inclusion was a little bit easier on TikTok. Got a couple of different people trying out the aesthetic. But again, I think because it's based on like old white beach grandma, it just doesn't inspire like a wide variety of people to dress that way. I mean, I like the coastal grandmother, the activities and the lifestyle, cooking, gardening. I mean, I don't do either of those things, but in theory I like them. But the fashion, the home decor is very boring to me.
To me? To me? To me, bitch. To me. You know what me means? I'm talking about my damn self. I'm not talking about you. Okay.
To me, there's just not much flavor. If there is any flavor in the coastal grandmother aesthetic, it's like basil and a little bit of salt, which is a good and classic flavor, but it's not creative or inspiring. Like, I'm not gonna be like, wow, you're a good cook because you used basil and salt in your recipe. Like, that's easy, it's safe, it's classic, but you know, I like a little spice. I want different textures. I just want more.
Where's the flavor? Where's the flavor in this? I don't taste anything.
I think because it's so classic and basic, that's why a lot of people like it. It's about timeless and classic basics, which is something that I do like. Again, I'm looking at my closet right now and I can 7, 8, I'm staring at 8 button downs and I'm wearing one right now. So like, I am not anti classic button down basics, an oversized button down. I've been playing that game for a while. I'm the queen of oversized button down, but I need a little more personally. However, these criticisms are more biased than I typically go for. But you know, how many more times can I say this aesthetic is skinny and white? Like, okay, great. I will say that it is probably, out of all the aesthetics that we've covered, by far the easiest to thrift and style with clothes that you already have. It's a comfy style that looks good on everyone. No one looks bad in trousers, loafers, and a button down. And it's equal parts dressy and flowy. If you're wearing, like I'm wearing like these sort of, not khaki, but like linen pants, loafers, and a button down can go dressy, dinner, can go just walking on the beach. It's a very easy style. All the button downs that I have gotten from thrift stores for like $8 or lower. So if you like this style, it's incredibly easy to go and find a couple of oversized button downs at the thrift store. It's easy and accessible, for sure. Is it inspiring? To me, not really. It's just, for me, it's just very, it's just J. Crew. Mediterranean coastal grandmother, that needs to become a bigger trend because that is something I'm all about. Same basics, but more colors, more patterns. Yes, much more my vibe. Right, so like I said with the Lake Day aesthetic video, with these summer aesthetics, a lot of them are more like lifestyle vibes. So rather than sticking like, oh, here are things to buy at the thrift store, because like we've discussed, button downs, trousers, things with stripes, gingham, pretty simple. You probably already have it in your closet. I wanted to create for each summer style analysis aesthetic a summer bucket list. So it's more about getting into the lifestyle of the aesthetics that I've been covering. So with the Lake Day aesthetic, I gave you a bunch of Lake Day crafts and activities to do that kind of get you into that mindset no matter where you are. Same thing here. We're gonna do some like bucket list items if you wanna have a coastal grandmother summer. First thing, make pasta from scratch. This is pretty easy to do. You can make very basic pasta with like basically no tools, and it's semolina flour, a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of salt, and like water. Like, it's very, very simple to make pasta. And there's also like pasta makers that attach to your like mixer. I got that for my mom one year for Christmas. She loves it. But making homemade pasta is so good. I mean, I am known to be able to eat like a box of pasta in one sitting because it's not that filling. But when my mom and I made homemade pasta, like the tiniest bowl, it's so much more filling and hearty. You can see that it's just like the portion size is why they're so much smaller sort of over in Europe and stuff like that, because they're using much heartier ingredients than just like white flour and water. Go berry picking. Depending on when you live, there could be some berry picking opportunities. And I put this in there mostly because a lot of the coastal grandmother vibe has to do with gardening, but of course, most people who are watching this either live at home or are young people who have a small apartment like I do, or in a city or something. So you might not have a garden to go out there, but making a trip to a local like strawberry farm and picking your own strawberries and then making like strawberry margaritas from scratch or something, that's very, very coastal grandmother in my opinion. Go on frequent beach walks or water walks, whether you live by a lake, a river or something. But yeah, just take your shoes off and walk down the beach in your flowy pants and flowy shirt and just kind of, yeah, go on a little walk. That's very grandmother. My dog and I walk for an hour every day and it's amazing. Befriend a boomer. Every Nancy Meyers movies has to do with like boomers, and I think sometimes, not always, but sometimes they are cool. My dad, boomer, watching this. I put this in here sort of as a joke, but maybe like if you're trying to live that coastal grandmother fantasy, just smile and say hi to like a local old person. I think befriending an old person, making an old person smile is very coastal grandmother. Watch a Nancy Meyers or Nicholas Sparks movie or any cheesy mom Hallmark movie. I will not be doing this. It's not really my style, but you know, some people love that vibe. And I think if you really want to get into the mindset of a coastal grandmother, going right to The Belly of the Beast, Nancy Meyers movies, you'll be able to really get that. Under the Tuscan Sun, Because I Said So, I don't know. Start a kitchen garden. So I know I just said like, if you don't have a garden, you can go berry picking, but a kitchen garden isn't super, super hard to do. You can just get like a long rectangular planter and have a couple of herbs in there and have the smells of the herbs. I actually had a mini kitchen garden when I first moved into this apartment. My cat Marnie loved to sleep on it, and so her fat butt would just like crush all the plants and eventually just killed them. And then she would just walk around my house with dirt all over her butt. It was a lot. But I think like getting some rosemary, some basil, parsley, cilantro, some of those basic herbs that are used in cooking all the time. Could be some shallots, very easy to grow. Could be really fun and inspire you to make more recipes and cook more. Go on a sailboat. You can do like a sailboat tour. Sometimes like different areas will be like, yeah, you know, you pay this much, you go on this giant like catamaran or giant sailboat, and they just give you a tour around the harbor or something like that. You could also like rent a sailboat or meet someone who knows how to sail and like rent it with them, split the cost, and you know, obviously make sure that you're confident on the sailboat, or there is someone that is confident. But I feel like sailing is very coastal grandmother. No motorboats, that's too loud, too windy, no, that's too much. Sailboat, nice and calm for the coastal grandma. Only buy bread from the local bakery or bake bread yourself this summer. If you want to live that coastal grandmother vibe, you have to, a lot of it is about the food that you're eating, probably because the style itself has no flavor. So you want to go down to the local bakery and really pick out a good loaf of bread, befriend the baker there, or make bread yourself. I know summer of 2020, we were all making bread. I love making baguettes and bread. So that's a very fun, easy, and cheap thing to do. No store-bought bread, only bakery or fresh baked. And then read summer romance books. When I think coastal grandma, I think this outfit with big sunglasses, reading on the beach, some cheesy beach read novel. The Summer I Turned Pretty series, I highly recommend. I read it maybe 5 years ago, and it rocked my world. I was reading it at camp as a counselor, and then I passed it around to the other counselors, and then the other counselors passed it around to the campers, and then soon like my entire camp was passing around the 3 Summer I Turned Pretty books, and we were all discussing it as if they were real people. We would have reading sessions where like my campers would be like, Dion, could you just like read a chapter of the Summer I Turned Pretty series, and we'd all read it and like squeal. It's cheesy. I mean, you can hear the title, The Summer I Turned Pretty. It's cheesy, but it's lit, and I definitely recommend it. I'm probably gonna be rereading those books very soon. Actually, I requested that book at my local library, so I'm waiting for it to get there so I can start reading the Summer I Turned Pretty series. Any Sarah Denson novel. I personally never was a Sarah Denson person. Again, romance and rom-coms I'm very specific about, but I feel like Sarah Denson novels are very coastal grandmother for the younger person. There's this book called Summer Days and Summer Nights, and it's 12 short stories about the summertime that I read a few summers back, and I remember really liking it. So this is another book that I want to reread. Again, it's 12 short stories, and they're by like authors that y'all know, like Veronica Roth and other authors, and it's, I don't know, there's some like cute, sometimes having a short story is nice because then you read for maybe 30 minutes, an hour, and then you're sort of, you have a good place to stop, and then you can keep going. Nicholas Sparks books. Nicholas Sparks always writes books on like the southern coast, and so like North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, that area, and so that's very coastal grandmother, very I don't know, small town, small beach town, big coastal grandmother vibes. I, once again, just not a Nicholas Sparks person, but I mean, he's written hundreds of books and made like so many movies, so clearly he's doing something right for a certain audience, just not me. And with that, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I feel like I was a little bit negative. I think it's just this was an aesthetic that many people asked me to do, and that I wanted to do, but because it's just not something that I personally relate to that much, it's hard for me to really like get into it for you guys. But I do hope you like it, and if you like the coastal grandmother style, more power to you. I mean, it's classic, it's timeless, it's comfy, it's accessible, it's cozy, and there is nothing wrong with any of that. That sounds like an excellent summer. So if you do like these summer style analysis videos, please give this video a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about the coastal grandmother aesthetic? Are you like me, where you're like, where's the flavor? Or are you like, I just love a blue and white and khaki combo, and I'm not gonna apologize for that. I think either way, more power to ya. If you do like my personal style, I definitely recommend following me on Instagram and TikTok because I post content there almost every single day. You get to see more of my personality, what I'm wearing during the day, all that type of fun stuff. And with that, have a happy day. Bye.